Noodles.com, and we're doing part 2 of homemade pasta noodles. Welcome. We like to live small but cook large, and I wanted to show you my fridge where I've kept the pasta which we made yesterday. It's a teeny little fridge. Got my basic batter, some cauliflower soup, and I've got my pasta dough. I'm cutting this into quarters, and each quarter serves 2 people, so the whole recipe serves 8. First you mark it before you cut. Measure twice, cut once, as the carpenters will tell you. Okay, we're cutting through. I'm going to freeze 2 of these pieces for use later, but since it's just John and me, we'll eat one of these. This is for our neighbor Camille, who's from Italy. I told her I'd make her some pasta today. And then these 2 pieces I'm going to freeze in a bag marked pasta. We make this with semolina flour, and what you need to know about semolina flour is that it has a lot of gluten. So if you're gluten intolerant, this is not the recipe for you. But what's great about gluten is that it's very elastic. And that's what you want in pasta dough, because you're going to pull and stretch it to get it to the right thinness for cooking. Using my homemade rolling pin, since I don't have a rolling pin here, it's in storage. I should get it out because I love to make pies. I'll begin rolling this dough. You're probably wondering why these hangers are hanging here in the kitchen. Well, I learned to dry pasta on such hangers back at Nathan's restaurant in Washington, D.C. about 30 years ago. See, it was a place where all the famous local journalists would come to have their Italian food or have a drink after work. And people like Al Hunt, George DeLama, people who were in the business of journalism. So I'm starting to get it where I want. I'm just trying to get rid of the thicknesses that are uneven. And then we'll be ready to cut the pasta. So I've been letting my pasta get a little moisture to it under this damp cloth. And now I'm going to begin cutting and stretching it again. Cut the pasta very thinly, like so. A little bit time consuming, but I think it's worth it. Okay, when you fold it over, you can get unevenness. Now you pull the pasta, and this is where the elasticity of the pasta, of the semolina flour, and the, really is a benefit. So we're going to keep this right here, and for now, or maybe a little higher, we'll put that up here. Okay, so I haven't finished filling this. I'm going to fill this hanger and this with strips, but I do want to make sure as I go along that I trim my ends so I have a nice product. The pasta noodles only take about 10 minutes to dry. Anyway, they're kind of dry to the touch, but you can still feel a lot of moisture. You can drop these right into boiling water if you're going to start cooking right now. You don't have to wait. They don't have to dry any longer, and they only take about 2 minutes to cook. Of course, they are delicious. So, making homemade pasta noodles is really simple to do, and it's mostly just the time it takes to let it chill, which you can do between a half hour and 24 hours, or you can freeze it and not touch it for weeks. And rolling it out, which is rather quick actually, and letting it dry. Why do you choose semolina flour over white flour or other flours? Let's compare semolina and regular flour. Semolina is a slightly grainier grain, so it's not as powdery and fine as, say, an all-purpose white flour. So your result is a noodle that grabs sauce a little better, but it's also a more rustic noodle, the semolina noodle. So I encourage you to try it both ways. I have. I love homemade pasta noodles in this recipe, both with white flour and with semolina flour, and we just had a great dinner, and we're both needing a walk now. Anyway, thanks for joining us. If you'd like to get the recipe for this, go online at foodfortheages.com. And remember, while you're there, subscribe to my blog and you will get a free cookbook called Tiny Kitchen Cooking. Thanks.